Yeah, I know, I'm moving it from one spot to another, right? Kind of a waste of energy there. Seemingly so. Move a couple items out of the way there. We can have a YouTube video going, eh? Look at that. Moving it from one place to another, what a waste, right? Ideally, I'd be loading it on a truck. Why didn't I take it to the scrapyard in the first place? Because I didn't find it all at once. I found maybe like this. One piece of aluminum while driving around and finding a truckload, right? So this right here, this is the only piece of aluminum that I found while driving around looking for a truckload of scrap. Okay, so I had the truck filled with scrap. One piece of aluminum. So if I went straight to the yard, okay, which I have no choice now but to do that after sorting my material, I'm going to take another 15 minutes or more out of my time to go to the little scale and weigh this little piece of aluminum that probably is worth, I mean, it's 20 cents a pound, maybe 2 pounds, maybe 3 pounds, for another 60 cents. 15 minutes for another 60 cents. 15 minutes times 4 makes an hour. 60 times 4, that's $2.40 an hour. Okay? Why do I still have it? That didn't make any sense to anybody. I know. Trying to explain economics. That represents $2.40 per hour, that one piece of aluminum. Okay? If you find one little piece and you go and take the time to put it on the little scale after dumping your scrap load, that's what you're getting. Doesn't seem worth it. It almost becomes more worthwhile to take that one piece of aluminum that you did find and just throw it off the truck, which aluminum don't weigh much. It's probably not going to tip the scales very much, so you're not going to realize anything from it, not a cent. You throw it off the truck, you're not going to get anything for it. You're not going to get anything, and here's a counter argument right now. I'm not going to get anything for it sitting around the compound. Correct. You guys are totally correct. How many minutes did I spend fidgeting with this and moving it from one place to another? I don't know. Maybe a couple of minutes. Look at a raccoon climbing on that thing. So, I mean, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. The fact of the matter is, this is completely dysfunctional. There's one guy working. I'm trying to make more money than the average scrapper. Driving around, using his pickup truck, bringing small loads of scrap to the scrapyard, spending hours and hours driving back and forth to the scrapyard and spending tremendous amounts of money in fuel. Okay? So at that point, that's where this compound actually pays for itself, because it actually costs less to keep this place than it would to drive that truck around back and forth to the yard. Not talking about driving around looking for the stuff. I'm talking about from where I found the stuff, going there, coming back, plus the amount of time. Me, I'm trying to manipulate that. I'm having an extraordinarily difficult time. I don't know. I mean, this is a home-based business and actually thrives if you do this from home. And I can't do this job from home because I have a neighbor that would take videos of me doing my work and send it off to the government, and then the government comes by and then they see that they accuse me of running a business from my house. And for all practical matters, I'm not running a business, because running a business means that you're using your house as a point of sale. So the business is in the back of the truck at the scrapyard. That's where the business is conducted. Well, I'm not going to argue that with those people, because I spent the last 15 years doing that and gotten absolutely nowhere. So plus, the good thing about the compound is I could do whatever I want here, pretty much. I could bang on my scrap metal. I don't have to worry about what neighbor is watching me do what. So in that regard, it's peaceful. But in this regard, I moved it from the truck. Well, first of all, I got loaded into the truck piece by piece, not all at once, because I was assuming that long by now that this thing would be running, and by that time it would be filled with aluminum, and I'd have, even at 20 cents a pound, if this thing was packed with aluminum, I would probably have a good few $100s worth of material in there. But that ain't gonna happen right now. What we're going to try to do is get some of that off the ground and load that up in there, because yeah, getting that dumpster to come back here is starting to look like an empty promise. So maybe what I should do, okay, is just go back to being the really old-fashioned me and just depend on myself, not hope and wait for others to do anything. Be a little bit more like Scrap Farm and pretty much do what you can all for yourself, and not rely on anybody, because, well, see what happens when you're relying on somebody else? You end up going in circles, and you end up being, I'm the only one to blame. That's a thick piece of aluminum. Now this is kind of like what I dreamed. I mean, if I had big, huge sheet of aluminum, you could make a roll-up door for one of these. But I've got a few people telling me to put a cargo net on there, but you see, you lose structural rigidity on the corners, and eventually the welds pop. Yeah, and then the box busts. See how that's built like that? what happens is either rocking back and forth, that torsion, and then you end up getting a squirrel moment. You end up getting the box to end up bust. I mean, it sounds like a really good idea. Somebody else said use a cattle gate, but that doesn't address the rocking back and forth motion, which will eventually crack the corners, and then now you have no structural rigidity whatsoever. So, believe it or not, this door, when it's down, adds strength to the entire, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. That's what other people have told me. So I don't know who to believe other than the people that tell me about structural rigidity. Seem like they're making more sense to me than the people putting a cargo net. Well, a cargo net's got big holes and stuff in it. And the problem I foresee with that is scrap managing to pass through it and fall out of the truck. You gotta be really careful about the way you load it. And I don't know. I don't really have the answer. Maybe that is the answer, using that, because this ain't working. But a cargo net would never be able to hold back a refrigerator or a water heater if it tilted, which it's going to do. It's going to rust right into it. It'll rip right through it. So you could say put something smaller, but you don't always find smaller things. And sometimes the smaller things are so small that they'll make it under it. Okay, the cargo net comes down here. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. I have no idea. I have to really think about it. Well, this thing has been out of action right here for about as long as that thing's been out of action. We're 6/17, so we're going on, what, 3 years now of the thing being down, pretty much. Why do you still have it? Well, as you can see, look how reliable the dumpsters have been, right? So, I'm going to stop yapping with this video. I'll pick up the rest of that aluminum, and then I'm going to take some of that scrap. I'm going to load it up in the truck there, get that off the ground. This idea, above all, is to keep the place clean so it's functionable. And having stuff laying around like this, that's dead money right there. And with the stock market dropping like it is, not going to be long before the scrap hits the wall. See you in the next video.